Hi there, anonymous question asker. I am answering your question, do I need to let my water set out for 24 hours to dechlorinize? And I assume since this is in the wine making section, this is with regards to making wine. And I just have to caution you that everything I know about dechlorinating water comes from using water in fish tanks. So some of the methods that you use in a fish tank you can't really use for winemaking. So if there's just chlorine in the water, then yeah, setting the water out for 24 hours will, and the best thing to do would be to agitate the water as well, would dechlorinate the water. The problem is that today in water just about everywhere in the world, instead of chlorine, we actually use chloramine, which is, I don't know, I can't explain it without getting it totally wrong, but it works similar to chlorine, but it sticks around for a lot longer. So I know when we use water in fish tanks, it used to be that you could let your water just sit out overnight and agitate the water, and the chlorine would be gone by the next day. But now if you do that and you add that water to your fish tank, you're going to kill your fish. So you can't do that anymore. I did find this, and I'll put a link in the notes, but there are many ways that you can remove chloramine. One of the ways that they explain here is to use carbon filtration. So if you run it through a charcoal filter, a carbon filter, a new one, because carbon loses its ability to absorb chemicals very quickly. So if you run it through a new carbon filter, that will remove chloramine and all the other nasty chemicals in the water. And I found an answer here which specifically answers your question. Does letting out sit for a few days remove chloramine? And the answer they give is that no, it probably would take weeks to disappear. And I'm just going to show you another page. If you want to know a little more about chlorine and chloramine, is this page where they explain everything, the differences. So in the fish tanks, when we're doing water for fish tanks, usually what we'll do is add a dechlorinator to the water that will break down chlorine and chloramine, and you let the water sit for 10 or 15 minutes, and that gets rid of the chloramine as well. Obviously, if you're making wine, you probably don't want to add something like that because, well, it's probably not made for human consumption, so I wouldn't recommend that. I would say in the end, if you want to dechlorinize your water, run it through a charcoal filter. You can even get, if you're making a lot of wine, I would get like a reverse osmosis filter, a 2 or 3 stage one, because what they usually do is they'll run your water through a sediment filter to remove the chunks. Then they'll pass it through a carbon filter to remove all the nasty chemicals, and then it'll go through a reverse osmosis filter that allows just the H2O through. And then usually you can get one where after that it'll run it through one more charcoal filter. And if they're probably $300 or $400, but if you're making a lot of wine, I would highly recommend that. So I hope that answers your question. If you have any more questions or follow-up questions, just reply to this answer. Thanks.